Welcome to Bondurant, Iowa for a Raccoon River Conference battle between the visiting Carlisle Wildcats and your Bondurant for our Bluejays. We just had the Youth Bondurant Wrestling Club out on the mat being celebrated. It's a Bondurant Wrestling Youth Club night, so we welcome them as they've been a good partner for the high school wrestling program as well. During the little kid wrestling meets, our high school wrestlers end up reffing the matches and things like that, and then the youth club buys the high schoolers Subway and stuff like that. So it's a great partnership. We're going to step aside for national anthem. The two-team duel tonight between the Wildcats and the Bluejays. So we're going to start out with JV matches on a single mat, and then we'll celebrate our seniors for senior night, and then we'll pick up varsity after that. So looking forward to an exciting night as we move towards the varsity lineup later on. It'll be a battle for the champions of the Raccoon River Conference, as both teams are undefeated in dual season conference records. Our first JV match of the night. We got one wrestler over at the table that looks like McCain Hewitt. So, exciting part of the season as we move closer and closer to postseason. Regional duels next Tuesday, conference tournaments this Saturday, and then we move on towards postseason. So in this JV match, you're going to have McCain Hewitt for the Bluejays and Braden Johnson for the Wildcats. Hewitt moving up to 113 to wrestle Johnson. McCain coming in with a 14-6 record, I believe entirely on JV this year. You'll have that when you have a ranked opponent or ranked teammate in front of you that you spend most of the season on JV. But did get an opportunity to go up to a single A or 1A varsity tournament a couple weeks ago up at AGWSR, and brought a team of Bluejays up there as Johnson comes around for two. And a pretty solid showing from the JV squad. Hewitt looking to turn this around. Maybe I awarded the two early, as I don't see a two on the scoreboard and the referee's not holding up as if anyone has control yet. So we're going to stalemate back to the middle. So I guess he did not award the two. It's still 0-0. Hewitt going in on a leg again. Just getting a little bit too extended. Good job sprawling out there by Johnson. McKinney needs to drive in on that. Well, now he's got that elbow. Probably looking at a stalemate here again. Oh, back up to the feet. 16 seconds left here in the first period. And Hewitt needs to pop his arm out, bounce a little bit, get that arm loose, and there's a 2-point takedown near the end of the period. McCain's going to look for some back points. Johnson bellies out, and we're going to finish the first period with a 2-0 lead, advantage Hewitt. Johnson's going to have first choice. He's going to defer to the third period. McCain's going to choose the bottom position. If you haven't watched a lot of high school wrestling, the rounds are 2 minutes per period. So Hewitt, good job moving on the whistle. Johnson catches a wrist and brings him back down. Hewitt trying to block off that arm so he can get a little wrist control and stand up. Johnson looking for a tilt. Good job coming up from McCain. Not quite able to break free. Good return from Johnson there. Little high ride in the legs. McCain, good job adjusting. He's going to try and slide out the back door. Scooping that head up and gets the 2-point reversal. And some back points coming here. Holding 2 swipes for a 2 count. The 2 near fall is awarded, so McCain's got a 6-0 lead now. Picking up a co-host here. Welcome Rich Powers to the broadcast. How you doing, Rich?
Good.
You're missing some of McCain's work here as he takes a 6-0 lead, and now he's on top trying to work for some extra points.
One neat thing for a lot of our guys is our scheduling has expanded a little bit and given them some additional opportunities on some weekend tournaments that have been nice, and some varsity tournaments for our JV, which is pretty neat.
2-point near fall for McCain gives him an 8-0 lead, and he stopped it for potentially dangerous. There's 5 seconds remaining in the second period. Bonus points if you can tell me all the towns associated with AGWSR.
Me personally.
Yeah, you personally.
Well,
not going to have it happen.
I'm going to need a minute.
Johnson's going to choose neutral to start the third period. I'll give you a hint. The last 2 letters go together for one name.
Yeah,
it's in on a leg.
It's Ackley, Geneva.
Yep.
Wellsburg.
Yep.
And then I do know this one. I'm struggling.
McCain's looking to get the 2. He's got the arms back there.
Steamboat.
There it is. Steamboat.
Rock.
Yep. There you go.
Passed the first test.
There's your first bonus points of the night.
Yep, and McCain is on his way to bonus points here. A 10-0 is qualifying for a major decision right now, which is an 8-point difference. And he's going to go for a technical fall here. He did a little roll through.
Might have hung out on his back a little bit longer than I appreciated on that tilt.
I think Mom and Dad probably appreciate it even less.
It's hard to pin yourself in high school in a tilt, but it's possible.
It's also, I think, something we don't talk about much is the difficulty of parenting. It's hard to be a fan in the stands watching watching your son or daughter compete in any sport.
Except in wrestling, there's only one kid to yell at. So
Exactly. Yeah, well, there's the opponent and the official.
Well, true.
If that's your thing.
Down to 20 seconds remaining in the third. McCain still with the 10-0 lead. Still looking to work that arm bar.
Yep. I would say a very good job of controlling his opponent's hips and really not giving him any room to breathe or move.
Nice match from McCain. Start off the night here for the Blue Jays, 10-0. All right, now we got Ryder Harris coming out. Looks like he's going to be wrestling Keegan Blandowski.
Keegan Blandowski from Montreal, Ryder Harris.
Ryder moving up from 113 to 120 to wrestle Keegan. Just trying to get some more Blue Jays, some extra matches.
That's kind of the journeyman nature of a JV meet. You take matches where you can get them, and typically you see one weight class move when there's a formal weigh-in. When there's not a formal weigh-in, you see a lot more flexibility because the rule is one weight class up, right?
Right.
Nice takedown there, little duck under.
Good follow there on that to keep him on the mat. Ryder, relatively new to wrestling still, and it's I think his second year. He might have been in there in middle school, but he did grow up on a circle with a lot of wrestlers, so.
It's a neighborhood thing.
Yeah.
He too is trying a little tilt,
action.
Little roll.
Good ride going. No riding points awarded. Unfortunately, as I say that, he's going to get called for the locked hands. So 1 point to Blandowski for the locked hands and 1 point for the escape. It's going to tie it up at 2-2. But then Harris goes right back in, gets another takedown, looking for some back points. Going to try and suck him back.
Little high, little aggressive. Sometimes you can overshoot the mark a little.
Trying to steamroll it through. A nice 4-2 lead here for Ryder. Nearing the end of the first. Want to avoid giving up any type of... And there he gets a call. Oh, double whammy. Gives up the locked hands and the escape in the last 5 seconds. So that's going to tie it up at 4-4.
He's going to...
And Ryder's going to get first choice. Coach Dottie's going to tell him, go ahead and choose down.
I like that. I'm a fan of collecting your escape right away and knowing that your opponent likely will go down in the third.
Harris looking to get a reversal and draws the locked hands call out of Blandowski.
He did a nice job of setting him up for that. That's whoa. That is a fortuitous call on the
edge of the mat.
Yeah.
So 1 point escape. They're going to be neutral. Ryder has a 6-4 lead now. Now I don't feel like I've seen a lot of locked hands calls from Ryder going into this point. So, ooh. A suicide headlock there. So I'm wondering if this official is maybe extra adamant on looking for that locked hands and if that's going to be a trend throughout the night. Good low-level attack again from Ryder.
Kind of a head inside.
Blandowski tried throwing through, and we're into takedown position for Blandowski. Good job belling out by Harris. We're tied at 6s.
Reaching back can be dangerous. We might get another locked hands, Coach. Nope.
Let go and got the escape, so Ryder's got a 7-6 lead.
He's got a good engine. I wouldn't be surprised if he fires off another few shots here.
Well, and he's been pretty good about getting to the legs. Just wasn't quite able to finish that last one, but we'll see how this match progresses. 30 seconds remaining in the second period. As Harris gets another takedown, bringing him 9-6.
Short time at the end of the period. You want to not
another locked hands call.
Doggone it. And you know what, Coach? That is 2 points if we're paying attention at home. A third is 2, correct?
I believe so.
Well.
He only said 1.
I approve of the 1.
But I think it's 1-1-2.
Yep. And then I think it's 2 and then DQ.
2 2s and a DQ.
I am.
I like DQ, but not in this situation.
I do. Both regular and the Brazier.
So they did keep it to the 1. Now 1 point for an escape. Again, with 5 seconds left, that's definitely something to work on. But that's going to make it 9-8 going into the third period. And if I'm Blandowski, I'm absolutely taking down, if for nothing else than to try to get a locked hands call.
You know, I don't. Yeah, I'm going to just go ahead and say let's go neutral.
Coach, that's what Coach Dowdy told him as well. So it's going to tie it up at 9-9, but avoids the locked hands call.
He's a savvy coach, that Dowdy.
Good addition to the school district
here.
Yeah. Oh, Harris.
We got a lot going on there. I don't. A lot of near misses.
Right.
Both wrestlers could have had 5-point moves, and they moved enough. Oh, there's another low-level shot where he is really.
He's been really effective at getting to the legs. Yeah. That one he was just a little bit too close to the edge to finish, but.
No, Patrick. I've just. I'm showing my.
You looking up the locked hands rule?
Yeah.
So what is it?
1-1-2, and then you're off to the DQ.
So the fourth one should be a DQ?
Correct.
Okay. So since he actually awarded it 1-1-1, who knows what would happen if he got another one?
I would just go with another one.
Let's just not get another locked hands call and go that route. Let's go take him down, let him up style maybe.
Yes.
Showing our confidence in the takedown abilities right there.
Oh, I've got a lot of. He's got a very effective shot. He's in again, and a carry motion, and
no points yet.
He's gonna. I think he's gonna swim his way out of this.
This might turn out perfect if he can get the takedown late enough that he can't get a locked hands call.
That is a. The Carlisle wrestler is actually in a So that's a 2-point takedown for Blandowski. He's now up 11-9, and Harris tried to roll through, and it ends up on his back, and I think he's pinned. Not yet, but he's not even looking, which is kind of weird. And there's going to be the pin call with 6 seconds left. Well, both athletes, great engines, not afraid to be aggressive. That's pretty good to see. That's going to pay off for them both later as they stick with the sport. I think I like his fight. He's going to be just fine.
So now coming to the mat for another JV match. This is going to be Cody Landau for the Blue Jays and Noah Callies for the Wildcats. I got a viewer question. They'd like to understand the locked hands rule. Why? More about it and why you can't.
Sure. When a wrestler's in the top position, they cannot touch their hands. So if your pinky hits your index finger, that's locked hands. You can't lock around the legs. You can have your hands locked if you have a headlock with an arm in there. What are the other times you can lock your hands, Patrick? A cradle.
I mean, a pinning combination,
yeah,
right?
Pinning combination, a cradle. But just locking around the waist with nothing else included is a technical violation of locked hands. Not
2-point takedown for Noah there for the Wildcats. 1 point escape for Cody, so 2-1 Wildcat advantage.
Probably a poor. Apologize to our listeners in advance. Probably a poor, limited description of that. We need more visuals if we're going to.
Sure. As another takedown for Callies there. But I suppose the purpose being that if you could just wrap your arms around their belly and lay there on top, you're really decreasing the action, and it really doesn't amount to a whole lot of wrestling. Now, if you're in like freestyle, there's different rules there, and then you're talking about leg laces and points for exposure and stuff like that. But in folk style here, it just would limit any activity, I feel like.
Unless there was a rule, totally changing the concept. But, locked hands does not limit the action in folk style and Greco. In fact, because they bring wrestlers back up to their feet if there's no activity in, 5, 8, 10 seconds, depending on the situation. So it's a much different pace. It's a much different strategy.
There's no incentive to rides.
Correct. Collegiately, we've kind of held on to the riding time, and in its current format seems to work well strategically.
I would like to see maybe if you're gonna let somebody ride for 3 minutes, at some point I'd like another point or something like that maybe. But
there's a wrestling personality, Ben Askren, that would call for insta-death, meaning a technical fall essentially would be called if you have over 3 minutes of riding time. And I kind of think that's neat because it brings a little more drama to it. Like, can he get out in 3 seconds? Insta-death. I like the terminology too. I think it'd be a fan favorite.
And it kind of increases the quality of being able to ride an opponent like that and just kind of, kind of dominate that opponent. But still 6-2 here in the second period. Landau trying to get his leg free and gets the escape, so now it's 6-3.
Looking at both benches as we prepare for kind of a RRC showdown.
Yeah.
One thing that some of our parents are aware of, we informally were in discussions with the Little Hawkeye Conference about possibly, here's a reversal.
Moving to that conference.
8-5, moving to that conference, and the driving factor behind that move was greater participation at the lower levels, 7th grade, 8th grade, freshman levels, where we may have multiple levels. And at the end of the day, it just didn't. With their conference makeup, we picked up some really good, strong teams, but not enough to justify a move. And
is that an official announcement?
Well, it was informal discussion, so it's an informal announcement technically, right? There was no board question, there was no official invitation. It was, hey, would you be interested in a more formal discussion? But looking at these two benches. We've got very, very healthy programs, very high-level participation, high level of athletes on both sides of the deal. And it'll be interesting, it's going to be an interesting duel because there's a lot of points out there with 14 weight classes. We've got an unsportsmanlike conduct here.
So you got a 2-point reversal. It's not entirely clear what the unsportsmanlike was for. Would it have been hands to the face or something like that? I didn't see anything on the video looking back, so I'm.
There's always a verbal exchange that can cause that, but we won't speculate because
we aren't that close.
No, and we just don't know. Carlisle calls for neutral for the third period, thinking he is thinking that's the path to go.
As the Wildcat currently has a 13-7 lead. Yeah, the other weekend we had teams at 3 different tournaments, and I counted we had 61 kids in action for Bondurant Wrestling that day.
Wow.
And
that's a lot for anybody.
Yeah. And I just thought that was exciting for to speak about the growth of our program as we saw a lot of our youth wrestlers out here on the mat before the JV duel started, that it feeds into the idea that, hey, wrestling is a sport that you can keep a lot of kids involved with. And, I mean, 61 kids at 3 different tournaments meant 61 kids probably had 2 or 3 different matches or maybe more that day. And that's, that's for the most part why people go out for a sport, is because they want to compete in some way. And there's opportunities for that.
Sure. There's always an interest in varsity level competition, but the real reason for activities is for all kids to get involved in something. And here we got a reversal and going after a cradle right away.
I think it's 17-9 right now. Advantage Noah.
That is a
lot of points.
Yeah. The over-under is will we get to 30. And he's got a cradle locked up. If he can get to the side, hip to hip, he's going to have, there we go.
Needed more leverage.
Yep.
Needed more leverage. Need to come back up.
That arm comes out, you're in trouble.
Yeah. And that's going to be a 2-point reversal and a 3-point near fall unless he gets a pin here. And that's going to be a pin for Noah Callies of the Wildcats. As we continue our way through JV action tonight. Next coming up, 132 pounds. For the Bluejays, it's going to be Landon Corey. And for the Wildcats, it's going to be Torin Waltrip.
Landon is not a guy you're going to want to see on JV. He's had some multiple opportunities on the varsity level. He's very talented, very skilled, strong.
And if the weights kind of stack up the same way they do this year, there's a real good chance that he's going to slide into a varsity spot that's vacated by Dalton Ryle, one of our seniors.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's other competitors in those weights as well, and obviously kids grow at different rates, but definitely someone who you might see stepping into a varsity spot next year as a junior.
And he's an athlete that's benefited from that expanded schedule. He's had opportunities to wrestle with the varsity, with illness, injury, but also for the JV, he's wrestled on the varsity at different events.
As Corey gets the cradle locked up.
Yep, it looks like he's in a didn't quite have it secured how he may have wanted to, so got some nice back points there. Now we're in a rear standing position. Good mat return. Elevates and turns his opponent's hips, making it pretty easy for him to take him back to the mat. And he's going after the butcher or cradle again. A little.
Gonna try and thread the arm across the back. He has a 6-1 advantage right now.
Going to be
3
9
back points pending if he doesn't get the fall.
I would. He's in pretty good position. He just may run out of time.
6 seconds left. That looks pretty tight, though. That's got to be a pin right there. I don't.
If he could see what I could see.
So Landon's going to get another period to start here as he has a 9-1 lead heading into the second. It's hard to bridge off your shoulders and not have your shoulders flat, but.
With one official, you can't see everything.
Yep. Unless you're way up here, then you can see everything.
Absolutely. I can attest that as a certified official, I had to double check my penalty chart because you don't always get to every scenario or situation. Somewhat disappointing. I forgot that.
Corey up to his feet right away. Good aggressive move off the whistle. Now 10-1, and he's in on a low single.
Just the athleticism to get in on a low shot and finish is not everybody can do that. It's very, very difficult to defend too. So
12-1 lead now for Corey.
The other advantage he has is he's at a weight where there's some workout partners.
Yeah.
You look at the Dalton Rouse, the Nolan Fellers, the Jordan Ryles. There's no rest for somebody in the practice room.
Yeah. Definitely a little bit of depth getting built up, and that's an exciting thing to see.
I was.
You were looking for that fall call?
I was wondering.
So Landon Corey gets a pin in the second period. And we're going to move on to, they're going to call it a 138-pound match here. For the Bluejays, it's going to be Colton Carpenter. And for the Wildcats, it's going to be Owen Jackson.
Owen is not short.
One thing I commented to somebody earlier is the Wildcats have done a really good job of moving kids up their weight classes. When we get to their varsity level later on, you're going to see some kids wrestling 182, 195 that I'm pretty sure were 132-pounders as freshmen, and not everybody changes weights that much.
Well, one thing we've done, I think, with Brickhouse Fitness, with some local barns, with our strength and conditioning program, is kids are having more and more opportunities to
put in the work.
Put in the work, and they're finding a multitude of different venues to do it. There's just not one way to do it.
Carpenter got a takedown to take a 2-0 lead, now trying to work some back points here. And
I struggle with the interpretation of the out-of-bounds rule.
So 3 points in. They got a 2-point near fall before calling them out. Right, that's the rule, 3 points within the circle touching.
Yeah, and I think one of the few things the collegiate level has gotten correct is the out-of-bounds. A little
2-point near fall.
Little quick suck back there for a couple points. He's going to try it again.
So 6-0 lead.
This is going to be 9-0 shortly if he doesn't get the fall. Nope.
Only a 2-point.
Only a 2.
He just doesn't want to hang out there very long.
I got 2.
So 8-0 now for Carpenter.
I can verify he has that technique down. He's looking for a butcher or a cross-face cradle. Looks like he might have the knee close to the head. That is going to be a fall.
So Colton Carpenter gets the first period pin with 8.8 seconds remaining.
But this is what builds programs, is an athlete like that who's had a lot of opportunities to get matches. He's improving. You said wrestling's a sport where 61 61 kids can get matches in a weekend, a lot like a track or a cross country where you're going to be able to participate. Some of the other sports, it's a little tougher to get some time in.
Now to the mat for the Blue Jays, Porter Francois, and for the Wildcats, Mario Ham. Francois has been kind of in and out of the varsity lineup too, trying to fill in for some injuries and sicknesses and stuff like that. So,
Porter is a true program kid. He'll be honored here tonight for senior night. He puts the work in. He contributes positively. Doesn't hardly say a word. Never complains. But those are those student athletes are what builds the championship team, and both Carlisle and Bondurant have that depth.
Ham actually weighing in at a 152-pound weight class as a freshman. Francois was at 145, so he moved up to go face him. Porter gets that leg, and they're going to go out of bounds. No points awarded. Porter coming into this match 12-10 with a combined record between JV and varsity. If you're wondering why I don't say the Wildcats records, it's because they haven't totaled them up on the track wrestling homepage. So it says everybody's 0-0, and well, there's only so many levels I'm willing to go through to count up everybody's matches.
Now the official decided that exit off of the mat deserved a stalling call against Francois. I'm a little confused by that, but okay.
Because he was that one actually trying to create the headlock throw.
I think so, yeah. This is a kid who's got very good technique, very nice low shot, very hard to defend. Porter's trying to just keep his head down.
Ham's going to get the 2-point takedown. So he's got a 2-0 lead.
Let's close out the period with just a couple seconds here.
Francois gets choice. He's going to choose the bottom position. Minor correction apparently to Porter's positioning. Ham trying to work that right arm.
He's got a little trying to work a little arm behind the back here.
Good strength just to be able to pull that arm up there the way he did.
Mm-hmm. Porter's trying to collect some hands, trying to get some hand control underneath it come up. A lot of people wonder why don't you just stand up, and first of all, the Carlisle wrestle has a lot of weight on him, and the other thing is standing up without hand control is kind of a recipe for a disaster. You're going to get returned to the mat pretty
violently.
Yeah, yep. And if you don't have a free hand, you don't have anything to help break your fall.
Yep.
So I'm registered as against coming up without hand control. Yep, Porter's trying to clear his hands, and the Carlisle wrestler is doing a great job of getting hand control and covering his hips and making life difficult on him.
1 minute into the second period. Good solid ride from Ham so far.
He's covering that ankle and moving just enough not to draw attention from the official, which is what a good wrestler does, is he makes it look like he's and he is in fact working hard.
Yeah.
He's constantly moving,
but you can be working hard without it looking like you're doing much.
Correct.
And that can be a recipe for a stall call, whereas if you're working hard and actually making it look like you're doing something.
Porter, would be nice if he could somehow try to come up with an escape here, in the last 20 seconds, scoring at the end of the period. He did get some separation there. That 18 seconds, big first move off the whistle is what is key to getting out.
And a good tight waist as he, from Ham, allowed him to pull him back down. And that's a tough period when you pick the bottom position and you aren't able to get away at all.
Yeah, and he's letting them hang on that back ankle, at least this series. I'm a big fan of 5 seconds. You want to set on an ankle, you got 5 seconds. You want to hang on it, but to do it for 30 seconds, to your point, is a little bit.
Because you can't really create offense while sitting there.
No.
There's just not a lot to do. You're just trying to prevent the other guy from getting away, which is a goal, but you're supposed to do it as an active method, not,
Good to have a goal.
Yeah.
So he's getting a little high, a little out to the side. Let's see if he can overpower him here, and I don't know if he's working on a power half or a tilt.
A little bit of both, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, offensively, sometimes you're trying to see what's there, trying to look for openings, and
tried coming out to a half on the other side, but Ham did a good job clamping down on that.
Right.
Porter's trying different methods to find some back points, and so far a good defense here from the bottom wrestler. Under a minute now remaining. Porter going to try and get a cradle there, but not quite able to. And this flings him over, a little slow on the count, so no back point there. 40 seconds remaining now. Power half maybe from Porter.
This could generate some points here. But they're both doing a nice job of working hard. There's no question that Porter's working for a turn, and
I mean, he's tried about 6 different ways to find some back points.
Yep.
And they give a stall call. Oh, I didn't see a first stall call, but they just awarded a point for Porter because of stalling. But that's not going to be enough, as Porter's going to lose this match 2-1 on really, for a 2-1 match, there was a lot of excitement in there.
Yeah, and if we go back to the first period, the athlete got a takedown with about 5 seconds left in the period, and those end of the period scores are difficult.
So continuing JV action, we're going to have at 152 pounds, Caleb Meyer for the Bluejays and Isaiah Smith for the Wildcats. Wrestlers tying up right away. Meyer, another one of the seniors we're going to see here.
Looks like he's got a near cradle locked up. If he's able to get this over, this could be a quick night for him. If he can freeze him there, elevate the head. He's making, well, there you go.
That's going to be a fall in 25 seconds. Decided not to break a sweat on senior night.
That is a good way to have senior night. Not sure how many, by watching our guys warm up, it looks like we have at least 4 or more JV bouts left.
Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think.
Okay.
So Caleb Meyer gets a pin at 152 pounds. We'll move on. Still at 152 pounds. For the Bluejays, it's going to be Liam Piggott. And for the Wildcats, it's going to be Dion Lopez. Lopez and Meyer actually met earlier this year at the Sadell tournament. Lopez a junior, Piggott a freshman.
Blue pen is my favorite pen here. It's good to have a writing utensil.
You know, as an accountant, I do keep some extra ones in the backpack sometimes. Lopez in a front headlock position. Little head in the hole and can try and come around. And effectively gets Piggott for the takedown. And still in a position, going to try and cradle that up. Piggott blocking that leg decently there.
It's a tough situation to be in.
Really needs to find a way to break that grip. Easier said than done sometimes, I know that. The official is holding a 3-point near fall. 40 seconds remaining right now. And Lopez adjusting a little bit, going to try and look for that pin. Still hasn't lost his grip yet, so no back points awarded. And, I thought Piggott was going to be able to steamroll over on that, but just not enough there. Lopez gets the fall. About 1:25. They're super quick with our scoreboard, so it was already turned off. So next up, 160 pounds for the Blue Jays, A.J. Everly, and for the Wildcats, Drew Stutzman.
Drew Stutzman, from Monterey, A.J. Everly.
Says 160, but it's really 170 since neither one of them is a 160-pounder. Decent crowd filling in here for a conference championship on the line and senior night. So AJ looking to elevate that.
What weight are we at here,
170.
Coach? 170.
So AJ gets a takedown. AJ, a senior, but his first year wrestling was last year, so he's come a long way in that year.
Oh boy, I think he's.
That's pretty flat.
Yeah, I think if the official were in the right position, unfortunately, with one person, he can't do it all. You kind of see why you want to have a hand or a crossface with the cradle. That free arm that can cause you some trouble.
Yeah. So 2-point near fall gives AJ a 4-0 lead.
It's not an easy sport to be out as a senior, right? I mean, there's a lot of nuances and technical things and a lot to learn, and so speaks to the individual, and it speaks to the coaching staff that he's having some success out here. And
so 1-point escape awarded for Stutzman. Makes it 4-1 as we near the end of the first period. Yeah, you don't get a lot of sports that result in a lot of success when you try them out for the first time, as a junior or senior. But it's one of those nice things, like JV match-wise for tournaments and things like that. A lot of times they'll try to match them up not just with weight, but also kind of on wrestling ability, so that the kid that's been wrestling for 16 years doesn't necessarily get matched up with a kid who tries it out for the first time.
Right.
It doesn't never happen, but it happens less, which is very, very beneficial.
Well, and there's a lot of transparency with track wrestling.
Sure.
Unless they disable some of the features, some people select to do that.
Go through and delete some bad matches.
Or makes you do a little more hunting to figure out what happened in different.
Yeah. But if you want to be a researcher in wrestling, the options there. There's a lot of information out there.
A lot of video, a lot of text. You know, that was a pretty good crossface there. He's doing a nice job of trying to stay flat and have one hand. Wrestling's a sport that's pretty hard to win one-handed.
Although I've seen some pretty dominant wrestlers that were one-legged.
I can think of a couple. In fact, Simpson had an NCAA champion
just a few years ago.
Yeah. I think we're dating ourselves. I think it was more than a few.
10? Stutzman getting near fall points here. And he's going to get the pin with 24 seconds remaining in the second period for Drew Stutzman. Now moving on to, let's see, we'll call this one 170/182. As the Blue Jay wrestler is Parker Glissman. He's listed at 182. And for the Wildcats, Isaac Smith is listed at 170.
Okay, here we go.
Glissman with a little bit of a height advantage here. Glissman, a sophomore, listed with a record of 6-7 on the season. Looks like we have 5 JV matches after this one. And it looks like maybe, if it stands this way, we won't have any forfeits in varsity. Glissman gets a takedown, looking for a quick cradle. I actually thought the Wildcats were open at 106, but they have a wrestler listed, so we'll see. And Glissman gets the pin. First period, minute 23.
Those long arms are helpful with the cradle series.
And then you get to a point where you start, instead of locking your hands, you're locking your elbows, and you're like, huh, maybe these are a little long for this move. There's no such thing as too long arms to cradle. All right, so 182 pounds now for the Wildcats, Caleb Nordhagen, and for the Blue Jays, Andrew Keefe.
Andrew's another senior, another great athlete who's helped us in a number of sports.
Dabbled in basketball early on, and then found more of a love for the wrestling mat.
We all do, Patrick. There's no shame in that. I believe it was sixth or seventh grade when I was informed that it probably wasn't a fit for me.
Yeah, I feel like it was pretty obvious at an early age that I didn't have much of a future with the round ball.
You are a savvy coach with sports that include a round ball, though.
Well, you know, beggars can't be choosers. Nordhagen gets a takedown. He's up 2-0.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a locked hands. That wrestler was low on the legs, and the hands were just Not overlapping, but touching.
Although it has been several matches since we've seen a lock hands call.
Yeah.
He's looking for it, though. He was looking for it.
I appreciate that. Get a hand.
Keith gets an escape. Nordhagen with a 2-1
50
lead.
seconds left. Basic shot. That head position is so important in a shot.
Both wrestlers in the neutral position now. 41 seconds remaining in the first.
I have a compliment for our boosters. We now take Venmo and credit cards. It's never been easier to spend money here on concessions, which is greatly appreciated.
And if you've never met Rich, he is a fine connoisseur of concession stands. He has a popcorn rating system that has been heard all over the metro.
Yeah, to be fair, Jolene Kramer is probably the metro expert on popcorn. So Mike and I compare notes, went on the road, and it's
So after one, it's 2-1.
You know, the scoreboard lights up now with the shot clocks installed, even though they're rolled up to the ceiling as they should be. The shot clock
goes off with the buzzer.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice highlight.
So from our angle, since we're the same height as the rolled-up basketball hoops, we can see the lit-up shot clock when it goes off.
Andrew with a quick escape, 3 seconds. That time he just came right up with a hand, and now he's going to take a shot, and
now the next thing you can do is just drop a light right down in the middle.
You know, big fan of the spotlight. We know electricians. I think we had a state champion a few years ago that is an electrician. It's not the expense. You know, there's rarely a single duel.
Yeah, this is really the only one where we've scheduled it with one opponent. There was one other one this year that we did on one mat just because of the number of JV matches was so minimal that it didn't really make sense to do two mats. But hopefully as we continue our growth, we'll have some more duels scheduled with opponents that are loaded up with JV wrestlers as well, and that won't really be a thing. But
no, so Carlisle has a great atmosphere. Our duel over there last year was pitch black. I couldn't see my hand. Not that I needed to, but great environment, tight, small. Their old gym, great atmosphere for high school athletics. Andrew with a quick escape. We're 4-3 with about 50 seconds left. If he can clear that elbow. That's an illegal headlock. Nope, he didn't have his.
Didn't have an arm in there?
No.
So 6-3 the score now.
24 seconds left. There you go. Quick escape on the edge. Oop. Give him one. 13 seconds left.
6-4.
Got a whole third period left.
Both wrestlers kind of lined up head to head, just keeping a little bit of space there. And the Wildcat wrestler is going to choose bottom, so Caleb takes bottom. Andrew will cover with a 2-point deficit right now.
Looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like we have 4 bouts after this.
Well, a little Granby roll to get out of there. We always love Granby rolls from the guys that are, the upper half of the weight classes. Show that athleticism.
Big fan of the Granby. The Granby is deadly for everybody. He is choosing to go a little more upper body. This is big things can happen. You can win big and lose big in the upper body game.
Good, solid shot from Drew trying to come around.
Very good. Very good sprawl.
And that's a 2-point takedown for Andrew.
He's gonna try to turn him here quickly or cut him loose. He's got to make a decision. He's going to cut him loose.
Coach says cut him, and he gets right back in on a shot. Right now he trails 6-8. Needs to keep driving into him. Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Lift.
There you go. That's on the official. That is 100% on the official. They have to stop that. That's not on the athlete, in my opinion. So what was the call?
Well, he was blowing the whistle, so he called potentially dangerous, but not a slam.
Which is surprising.
Because the slam was finished. I mean, just because you blew the whistle. So you have to bring down the wrestler controlled, which in that case, Andrew brought him down hard to the mat with the slam. I mean, that's what that is.
Yeah.
It should have been a 1-point penalty for the Wildcat wrestler.
Yeah. Well, what? Yes. Yeah. Oh. Got caught in the head and arm.
Keep coming.
It's going to be tough he's got a pretty solid post there.
And that's going to be a pin for Caleb Nordhagen.
Yep. That was a good match. My feedback was the official needs to grab the wrestlers and stop the action.
Sure.
Because it's a dangerous situation, and the last thing you want to do is get somebody hurt.
Yeah. Now, luckily in this case, the Carlisle wrestler hopped right back up, kept wrestling, and I think he landed on his shoulders more than his back, and that's one, a positive because you don't get the wind knocked out of you, but also just maybe a little more muscle built up around those shoulders to prevent that type of damage. But as we move on to 182 pounds here, Levi Standing for the Bluejays and Andy Crowder for the Wildcats. Crowder is a freshman, Levi Standing a senior, first-year wrestler. Had his friends out for wrestling, decided why not. He might as well too. Good little drag by Crowder. And he's going to get the 2-point takedown on that.
Levi does a good job of getting hand control right away, and he pops right out. Really hard to keep somebody down if without their hands. So hand control is so critical on getting out. This not looking too far ahead, but this might be one of the best Carlisle teams we've seen in more than 10 years is my number.
Well, because part of that is we've come up as a program too.
Right.
I mean, there's been multiple times over the last 10 years where we've been really close in a duel with Carlisle, but we've both gotten so much better, and we both moved up to 3A. 5 years ago we were not even near the top of size in 2A, and now we're both moved up into 3A, which for wrestling is the biggest class.
Yeah, and both teams feature 7 ranked wrestlers. We've got some coulda, woulda, shouldas with some injuries. A couple seniors that weren't able to have a season, but you can count on the location and the quality of both programs to have a really competitive meet.
And these guys are going to get real familiar with each other on the varsity level here because they have a duel today. They're going to see each other again at conference on Saturday, and then they're in the same qualifier for districts to go to state in 2 weeks after that. So
the only thing we can be thankful for that they aren't in the same duel
for regional duels.
Yeah. Levi, he's got some great fundamentals.
He does.
For his inexperience.
He really is a kid that, man, I wish he would have been out, 4 years ago, because the kind of just natural ability he has for this is really impressive.
And in those upper weights, you don't see that level. That level of athleticism is impressive. He's
5-2 lead right now for Levi. Actually comes into this with a 14-3 record. I believe all of his matches have been JV matches.
Whoa, he's got
a very unconventional cradle.
Yep, but you know what? That's what you got to love about a cradle. It's I think it's a big equalizer.
Now, what you'd like to see is him put that other knee probably in the side.
Yep. Little technical adjustment could headgear. Okay, let's fix that.
So 8-2 right now for Levi. Yep, going to stop the match because the headgear was around the wrestler's neck instead of his head.
Not ideal.
Man, not comfortable for one.
No.
Not really very productive or protective when it's not touching your ears at all.
Another difference, we talked a little bit about freestyle and Greco earlier. Very, very popular spring and summer season for wrestlers, and headgear is not required. In fact, it's not really encouraged.
Gives you a great opportunity to get that cauliflower ear built up.
It does, which I think is a negative. A little side roll's coming. Oh, he's
good hips. Got his hips back up and maintained control.
Man, is he? He's got some natural. He's got some natural instincts, no doubt. He's going to cross. He's going to cradle again. I'm watching some comings and goings, and we've got some former wrestlers in the house. Quite a few graduates coming back to watch this meet. A lot of interest with the number of ranked wrestlers. Sometimes in these meets, it really comes down to matchups. Who you got two highly ranked kids going at it. Probably going to be a 3-point decision. If those ranked wrestlers hit less experienced wrestlers, you can rack up a lot of points in a hurry. And wow, that was impressive.
Blast double from Levi takes him to his back.
This might end here.
And that's going to be a pin for Levi standing. 4 minutes and 30 seconds in.
Wow, he has some skills.
Yeah,
he's impressive.
Which is why I say if you're not one of the 5 kids in your grade starting in a basketball game, you might as well jump on a wrestling mat. And I can say that. I'm not sure if you're supposed to, but I can.
I'm not supposed to. Appreciate you bringing that up. I've noticed that 7 or 8 actually seem to play in basketball.
But if you're not one of the 5 best in your grade, the chances of you finding your way onto a varsity or on the wrestling mat, since JV matches happen every Saturday, is increased.
The accountant in you has done the math.
The probabilities of you wrestling a match is higher than the probabilities of you playing in a basketball game.
Had you have been my mentor, I probably would have made a sooner exit from basketball, knowing the numbers now.
But it is one of those things, like 4 years ago, I think, or 5. The Raccoon River Conference made a switch to a split season in middle school. So the basketball is after Christmas, wrestling is before Christmas for the middle school boys. Going to add a third person on this broadcast.
Not just any person.
Maybe just for varsity. We'll see. He's gonna wander away, but we'll be ready for him. We'll introduce him when he gets here.
The Big Ten.
We'll keep you in suspense.
Big Ten Network had Luke Fickle at the Wisconsin meet.
Yeah.
And we
football
have
coach /
former national champion, junior national champion wrestler Luke Fickle.
Chase Holloway has Lucas Lorber in a tough spot here. He's got the 2-point takedown and 3-point near fall pending, and I'm not sure what angle the referee's looking to see his shoulders because he's went all the way around.
I do think his left shoulder's up just a bit maybe, but that's going to be tough to maintain.
Still 15 seconds, so maybe. Five seconds now, and that's going to be a pin for Chase Holloway.
It's a tough,
in a minute 57.
Tough situation to get out of. I think for our extra special guest, we're down a chair.
He's an athlete; he can stand.
That's true. He is an athlete. That's giving away a little bit.
It does it though. I mean,
the initials of CF, which is not cornflakes.
Nor do I think that's his nickname.
No.
Now up for the Blue Jays, Silas McKinney, and for the Wildcats, it's going to be Alex Olson. We do have one JV match listed after this, and then I believe we'll do senior night activities, and then we'll start a varsity duel.
Start into the duel.
Which I don't know exactly how we're going to handle the senior night activities. I know I won't be talking through them.
I shouldn't be left alone with the microphone, so I think we may just go to house audio. Or
yeah, I think maybe that'll be the move, is we just switch it to the house audio, and you guys can listen to the crowd, and hopefully nobody says anything questionable. And if so, we know it's probably Clint Jones. McKinney and Olson still here at 0-0. McKinney a freshman, Olson a sophomore. As we continue to have a nice crowd build into this. That's exciting to see. I know we don't have a lot of home wrestling meets, so it's good to see the crowd show up when we do.
Yeah, I'm gonna call Carlisle out a little bit.
They're slacking over there, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't know. They do not want to contribute to our activity fund, apparently.
I'm sure it's not because of how amazing we are and they just want to listen to us.
You know what? I think that is an excellent point. I hadn't considered. The quality production available online far exceeds the in-person experience.
Carlisle has a pretty nice video setup, too. I do like to think we're better than everybody based off this great production class that Mr. Seidel runs here. If I look to my left, I see just students running this operation, and so that's a fun little opportunity for them, and they've done a lot of great work over the really over the last 3 or 4 years. One of the kind of started with the COVID year with limited attendance, and it's really just kind of taken off. They do hype videos and highlights, and Mr. Von Steen over there loves being underneath the basketball hoop trying to catch dunks.
He does. And in fact, I didn't want to say this, but one of them shared with me earlier that the more Mr. Seidel stays out of it, the better the production gets. But I didn't want to call anybody that stands under the basketball hoop out.
Yeah, I thought maybe you were just trying to make sure nobody got unruly over here.
Tough crowd.
Tough crowd. Gosh, dad jokes for days, but nobody's listening.
Here's a double leg for a takedown to go up 2-1.
2-1 from Olson as McKinney got the escape earlier.
Yep. Keeping your head up, trying to stand up is so important on the bottom. And Carlisle's doing a nice job of pushing them forward or jamming them forward, making it pretty tough to get your head up. You will be participating in senior night activities as a parent. You've got multiple roles here.
I do. I'm a multitasker, though, so it's fine. As McKinney gets another escape, so that's going to make it 2-2.
Wow, what a double leg.
So far I've seen guesses of Connor Pfizer, he's not going to be on the mic because he has a match to wrestle, and Colin Farrell. I don't think either one of those is going to be the answer.
Excellent guesses, though.
They took you a clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone, in fact, is listening.
2 people, actually, because I got 2 different people to guess.
Oh, well. Okay, here we go. 4-2. Bondurant going into the third period.
Narrowly avoided the lock hands call there. I thought he was going to call it, and he let go just quick enough, I think, or just avoided the tap enough that they didn't call it. McKinney doing a good job putting pressure on the top
spiral
half
ride. He's got the athlete's weight on his shoulder. It's pretty hard to come up. He's just got to keep that pressure on and keep pushing forward.
Now if he can find a way to work towards a turn.
He looked like he was considering a cradle there for a minute, which at that weight class is pretty unique.
There's a nice little power half.
Yeah.
Need to come out to the side. He's flirting with a full Nelson, I think.
Yeah.
So far, so good. Stalling on bottom, which is tough because the top guy's riding pretty parallel.
I think the stalling call on the bottom comes from here we go, a side roll.
Good hip positioning.
Good attempt, good defense.
You think the stalling came from the head not coming up?
Yeah, and I'm not I think that's a very tough call because, oh boy, here we go. He's got a power half.
There you go. Drive it. Keep going.
I think he's got to get out by his elbow. Oh boy, there we
go.
That might end in a fall here. We've got 22 seconds left.
I think he only got a 2-point near fall.
This is gonna. He's still counting, so he must
3,
only.
4, 5, 10 seconds remaining. As long as nothing crazy happens
He's got a 3 count.
McKinney's going to come away.
Sneak out with a 5-4 win, if not a fall.
I think his arm's in the way, yeah, so he wasn't going to get the fall. But that 3-point near fall came in clutch for Silas McKinney, and he wins 5-4.
Way to stick with it. Way to wrestle 6 minutes.
And we're going to go to our final JV match of the night. At least this is what I have listed. For the Bluejays, it's going to be Tyler Venoy. And for the Wildcats, it's going to be Jackson Truitt. Both listed as 220-pounders, both sophomores.
I don't know how many Truitts are on the Carlisle roster, but that's a name. That's the name you saw in football, I believe.
I don't specifically remember it in the football game, although I do know they're going to have a few key members of their football team showing up in the varsity lineup.
This is Tyler Venoy here out for the Bluejays. We're about a little over 30 seconds in.
Venoy with an 11-10 record. I do believe he has maybe a couple varsity matches in here. Both wrestlers kind of feeling each other out here, trying to look for opportunities.
Wrestling's a sport where if you're overly aggressive, it can be costly. So it's not too uncommon to see people be a little bit tentative in that first period, just trying to see how their opponent reacts, how they step, what their cadence is.
Venoy really trying to work that 2-on-1. Maybe he needs to try to get his head to the other side if possible, but I like the look for the offense there. You can do some things with that 2-on-1, and from the heavier weights perspective, it's a little less risky because once you take shots on people, then their weight is on top of you if you don't get moving fast enough. The 2-on-1's maybe a little safer.
The other thing I like about a 2-on-1 is where your opponent's hands are. It's actually a very solid defense. Wow, a little step around is a little risky.
And Venoy, good job coming through on that.
I stated risky, and it was costly. That's a 4-point move in the last 5 seconds of the match. Now, if you're going to, in the period, if you're going to try something risky, that's a good time to do it because you can.
Less likely to get pinned.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The referee nicely telling him, hey, maybe look at your coach, and he'll give you an idea on what you should do.
He'll give you a clue.
That's a good tip for all young wrestlers. When it's time to make your decision in between periods, just go ahead and take a glance at your coach. If he says he doesn't care, then you go ahead and just pick. But if you say something and coach wanted you to do something different, it might not be the best thing for you.
At my message when I was coaching, just be right. If you're choosing to do that, then I hope it works out.
If you choose down, you better get out. If you choose top, you better hold him down.
Yep. Usually it was a neutral call that was puzzling. So we've got our guest with the initials CF.
Does he want to come on now, or do you want to just wait till varsity? This is the last JV match. All right.
We will. We will. We'll take a brief hot dog, popcorn, and
talk about wrestlers break.
Yeah.
We'll let the in-house people talk about the wrestlers for a little bit.
Venoy with a half.
Yeah.
And he's
and that's going to be a
pin. That might be an ender right there.
And that's going to be a fall. 3 minutes and 14 seconds for Tyler Venoy. And I believe that is our last JV match of the night. So we'll step aside for a little bit while we go through senior night activities. I think we'll have the house audio on, and we'll be back for the varsity match. Go Blue Jays.
next senior is Porter Francois. Porter is the son of Chris and Valerie Francois. While in high school, he has participated in football, track, cross-country wrestling, art, senior seminar. While in high school, he plans to join the Air Force. Porter Francois. Our next senior is Quentin Fulton. Quentin is the son of Doug and Tammy Fulton. While in high school, he has participated in football, wrestling, track, and 4-H. While in high school, he plans to go into welding. Quentin Fulton. Our next senior is Andrew Key. Andrew is the son of Heather Anderson and Phil Key. While in high school, he has participated in football and wrestling. While in high school, he plans to attend Kirkwood for construction management. Andrew Key. Caleb Kramer is our next senior. Caleb is the son of Mike and Jolene Kramer. While in high school, he has participated in wrestling and football, FCA, National Honor Society, and select choir. While in high school, he plans to attend Iowa State and to study engineering. Caleb Kramer. Isaiah Larson is our next senior. Isaiah is the son of Pam Larson. While in high school, he has participated in football, band, wrestling, and rugby, art, and in the fall, play. Following high school, he plans to attend a trade school for HVAC. Isaiah Larson. Hunter Lyman is our next senior. Hunter is the son of Stacy and Dennis Lyman. While in high school, he has participated in football and wrestling. Following high school, he plans to attend GMAT. Hunter Lyman. Alex Martin is our next senior. Alex is the son of Kimberly Martin, and while in high school, he has participated in wrestling, football, rugby, and cheer. Following high school, Alex plans to join a trade school or MMA. Alex Martin. Caleb Meyer is our next senior. Caleb is the son of Jen and Patrick Meyer. While in high school, he has participated in football, band, wrestling, baseball, and FCA. Following high school, he plans to major in actuarial sciences. Caleb Meyer. Dalton Ryle is our next senior. Dalton is the son of Jason and Nicole Ryle. While in high school, he has participated in soccer, cross-country, and wrestling. Following high school, he plans to get a degree in business, but hasn't decided where yet. Dalton Ryle. Our next senior is Levi Standing. Levi is the son of Chris and Don Standing. While in high school, he has participated in football and wrestling. Following high school, he plans to enroll in Police Academy. Levi Standing. Our next senior is Marcus T. Marcus is the son of Nathan and Sarah T. While in high school, he has participated in football, wrestling, and rugby. While in high school, he will attend DMAT and then transfer to Iowa State to study strength and exercise science and join the rugby team. Marcus T. And our final senior manager is Estella Smith. Estella is the daughter of Tomas and Christian Smith. While in high school, she has participated in FFA and 4-H, silver cord, and is a wrestling manager. Following high school, she will attend Northwest Missouri State University, majoring in animal science, and hopes to feed the nutrition one day. Estella Smith. Great group of seniors. Big round of applause.
All right, welcome back, Blue Jay fans, to varsity action. The visiting Carlisle Wildcats and your Bondurant for our Blue Jays to determine who wins the Raccoon River Conference. Patrick Meyer here with Rich Powers and our special guest, Chase Pfizer, Blue Jay alum. How are you?
Good. How are you? It's great to be here.
Glad you are here. How's the wrestling season going for you?
Everything's going pretty well. Gotten a lot better for sure, to the help of all the staff and all my teammates. The roommates in particular, the quad, if anybody's watching. I don't know if they are, but.
Should pull that microphone a little closer to your face.
Right here?
Yep, perfect.
Perfect.
So, give people a little update. Where are you wrestling at?
We have the Loris Pat Flash Flanagan Open this weekend. A lot of the non-starters will be wrestling there. Should be some good action there in Dubuque.
All right. So as we look into this varsity action, we're starting at 106 and rolling through heavyweight. It's going to be a exciting matchup. I think Rich mentioned earlier 7 ranked wrestlers for each team. I mean, obviously, I imagine for you, Chase, there's one match you're maybe super excited about. Brother Connor's he's ranked number 3. He's gonna face number 4 ranked Aiden Serrano. I imagine that's probably a highlight match for a lot of people, but maybe even a little more so for you, I suppose.
Oh, for sure. You have 3 versus 4, both Pfizer and Serrano, both pretty skilled on their feet. I think we can expect a lot of good action from the first whistle. I think that's going to be a big match in the decider of this duel.
I agree. They're both very talented, but the Pfizer family has a great motor. He's somebody that's going to have a high attack rate, and that can be difficult to deal with for 3 periods.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those things I can tell drilling with Connor all the time. The pace is pretty high all the time. Should be a good match.
So we're going to go through in-house starting lineups here. We kind of have done this with basketball a little bit with keys to the game. So for wrestling with keys to the duel, team duels come down to bonus points a lot. And one thing that's going to definitely need to be something our lighter weight guys look for is those bonus points. Winning by decision probably isn't going to be enough. We're going to need some majors, maybe even some pins in there from that 106 to 152 crew. And then when you get up into the heavier weights, the Wildcats have a lot of very experienced, very talented wrestlers. We're going to need our Blue Jay heavier weights to avoid getting pinned. I mean, I know that sounds simple, but we can't be giving up 6-point pins at the last 5 or 6 weights if we really want to come away victorious in this duel.
Yep.
Yeah, you hear all the time that it sounds like a cliche that all the bonus points, but it's true. Bonus points win the duel. It's happened to us before. It's worked for us. It's worked against us, and I think it's going to be really key. 14 guys up and down the lineup need to be fighting their tails off the whole time.
I mean, we saw that in our duel against the Ankeny Hawks the other day. Like, we each won 7 matches, but we lost the duel because they got more bonus points than we did. And so it's.
I believe that happened to us. It was my junior year. We were wrestling Creston in the regional duels. We split 7-7 matches and gave up 7 falls. When you do that, it's pretty hard to win a duel meet.
And a tip of the hat to the opponent. But
exactly.
A lot of times it's all about matchups, right? And
yes.
if your firepower hits their firepower, you're going to see more decisions versus lopsided losses.
And we do have, I think it's three matches tonight where we'll have ranked opponents, because we have the 113 with Connor and Aiden. At 120 pounds, Matthew McRae for the Blue Jays is ranked 6th, and Ryan Ryder for the Wildcats is ranked 8th. And then at 145 pounds, Jordan Ryle comes in at 11, and Jackson Miller, a freshman for the Wildcats, comes in at 5. So those are definitely 3 matches that could help have a huge impact on the outcome of this duel.
Yeah, 3 huge matchups with I think 6 guys who have all really kind of earned their stripes and came on strong this year, especially. Miller, obviously, being a freshman, didn't have a high school season last year.
He's not new to wrestling, though.
No.
I mean, that's one of those things about we mentioned, track wrestling and how kind of everything's out there. And AAU youth wrestling and all of that stuff, like you kind of have an idea what freshmen you expect to see some noise made by. Bluejays obviously have one of those on their own with Nolan Fellers.
Yes.
Missed the beginning of the season with the football injury, but really has come on strong here as of late. Coming in, he's got 1 loss, and it's to a defending state champ, and knocked off the number, I think, 4 kid last weekend. So he moved up to 4, and just really, really exciting development there when you see a freshman take a varsity spot and really just kind of drive it home with that.
Well, and I think what's changed in athletics in high school athletics in the last 15 years or so is the strength of youth programs, the strength of coaching, and the opportunity to compete a lot.
Yeah, I know. The club scene in Iowa now is very competitive. A lot of top tier wrestlers coming out of these clubs. I know it's made a difference in my own wrestling, and I think if you ask just about any other kid who's training at those top clubs, that they would tell you that it's making a difference for them as well.
And I think that's where the internet's made a difference too. The ability to communicate tournaments and line things up, used to be predicated on picking up flyers from the first tournament, and now you can select tournaments and you can kind of understand what's available and the skill level. Is it a regional tournament? Is it a national showcase? Is it a beginner? So it's beneficial. I would say the negative to it is I think you're starting to see athletes wear out in a lot of sports, and it's trying to find that balance.
Yeah, there's some youth wrestlers in like 2nd grade wrestling 50, 60 matches a year, and Chase probably didn't have 60 matches in a year until he was a freshman.
Probably not.
And that was year-round at that point for you, right?
Here we go with Reed Foster.
Yep.
This is a match, in my estimation. Big bonus points are necessary to have even just a shot to hang with Carlisle tonight.
So this is Reed Foster for the Bluejays and Hudson Shelton for the Wildcats. Foster gets quick takedown.
Our records show he's 32-5. He's had a lot of big matches already that he's won to earn that ranking. Certainly a guy that we expect to see somewhere on the podium this year based on his results. He's just put the work in.
So he's qualified for state last year, just finished up a little bit short of the podium, and really looking to get through that blood round this year. He's got the extra takedown. Seemed like a long time to get started on those back points.
Yeah. Chase, what do you notice in looking at Reed Foster? What are the differences you see in him from last year to this year?
I think the wrestling from neutral has definitely gotten better. I remember even working on some stuff in the room last year, some certain finishes and stuff. I think he's looked a lot more confident overall. He's obviously bigger at the weight too, and that helps. Bondurant has that kind of history of the small JV 106 pounder, and then have a bigger, same guy, a little bit bigger.
A little bit of a cut.
A little bit of it, yeah.
Yeah. So Reed physically, technically certainly has expanded his game, but physically he's a specimen at 106.
Yep.
And that's evident by quickly being out here 12-3.
Yeah.
And collecting back points, and he's gonna focus on a pin here, and that would be a huge.
And there it is. Minute 46 with the fall for Reed Foster, getting the Blue Jays started off right. And that brings us to 113 pounds for the Blue Jays. Number 3 ranked Connor Pfizer. And for the Wildcats, number 4 ranked Aiden Serrano. A little Tupac walkout music, huh?
I think so.
I like it.
Is there assistance in that selection, or was that all?
I do remember getting a text earlier this week about some walkout
right.
songs.
It's an important part of the whole deal.
It is. They're pretty early on. We just saw that carry from Serrano. That's going to be something that he's going to look to hit quite a bit throughout this match. Something I noticed when he was wrestling Foster last year. Had quite a few takedowns with that. Has it really, really, really well tuned in to his own wrestling style.
Yep. And that is off the mat. Really, he was dead to rights and did a nice roll through and put himself in a position to score on the edge.
Yeah.
A guy with the carry, not giving up that elbow is huge.
Yeah.
If I recall right, Serrano ended up placing at 106 pounds last year.
I believe so, too. Did he beat Foster in the blood round?
Yes.
Was it the blood round? I thought it was earlier for some reason, but
Maybe that was the first round matchup. I thought that they had wrestled at districts and then again at state, but I could be wrong.
I believe you're right. I trust your wrestling memory, Chase. Probably a good time for a stalemate. Not a lot of action happening there. So 46 seconds remaining in the first period.
Not an official we've seen a lot of this year. So
good job fighting off that arm from Serrano.
There's that carry attempt again.
Yep, controlling that wrist too. Two ways to stop the carry is controlling the tie and controlling the wrist, and that is a 2.
That is a huge takedown.
That is a huge.
The Wildcat
takedown.
Coaches are mad because they think that's the same thing that they didn't get the call on the other side. But about another 1.5 feet of Connor was in, well, the other side was not, but.
Well, probably not. What you discussed early is we're going to see. We're going to see this athlete again Saturday, likely.
Yes. There's a good chance this is the finals at conference on Saturday, and
there is, yes.
And that's going to be a full Nelson penalty point against Connor as he hit the back of the head with both hands at the same time.
Wow.
And legitimately, there's a real good chance this could be your finals matchup at districts as well, although Truman Folkers from McKinney is going to have something to say about that also.
Yes, and Folkers has definitely had a pretty good year up until this point.
I was attempting to go back and look at that on our tablet here.
Now, the other thing you have this year for the first time is 3 wrestlers from each district qualify. So the fact that there's 3 ranked wrestlers at 113 pounds in our district is not as scary, per se, as it has been in the past.
Yes, yep. I know that was the case last year as well. You had 3, 4, and 5 with Bowen Downey, Connor, and then Jabari Hansen of Ames.
Well, I think the other thing is this is not a new issue. I think this is a long overdue move. I can remember years. Whoa, that's a very nice level change there.
Attempt.
If he can avoid the roll through, if he can get that posted, that's a big takedown there.
There's a 2-point takedown. Connor coming up with a 5-1 lead now.
The level of offense and defense that we're seeing here, the common person is going to be tough to pick up on. The nuances and minor shifts, the minor setups, the little fakes. These are high-level athletes that are not only some of the best in the state, but also nationally ranked.
Yeah, and to some people watching, seeing Pfizer have more scores, it might appear that Serrano's been defensive, but that's definitely far from the truth. we can see that he's obviously working on scoring. He's had multiple shot attempts himself.
He's got a dangerous role, and a fireman's can be 5 points in a hurry.
It can.
This is something that we have not seen a lot of Connor Pfizer. His top game, that's a huge. I'm going to try to be neutral here and not.
I mean, you're not going to get that defensive call right there that quick in any high school match. In college, maybe.
Well, and I think the other thing you got to remember is it's a 2-second call in high school. It's not a touch fall. Even in freestyle, you get a lot of grace when you're the offensive wrestler.
Yes.
Right or wrong?
There was a 2-point near fall there, so right now Connor has a 7-1 lead as we get to the end of the second period.
If you're up 7-1, are you taking neutral here or are you going down? I don't know the strength of his top game. Oh, it's Carlisle's choice, so he chose
didn't
neutral.
Realize that.
I feel better that we both didn't realize that.
But in the past, we've seen Connor take a lot more neutral than starting on bottom.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
That was
That was quite slick there.
a very impressive throw by and mat return.
Nice mat return on the edge.
Shane Sparks would be pleased with that.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
9-1 lead right now. Minute 35 remaining in the third. Connor right now is in major decision territory, which would be 14 points instead of 3.
You know, I don't know what probably a two-hour weigh-in, right? I don't know what effect that has on the Carlisle athlete. Is that going to be different Saturday when they're probably going to wrestle at 5 o'clock at night?
Possibly we could see that, but when you have two high-level athletes are going to be at their best on a 1-hour weigh-in versus 2-hour weigh-in versus a 6-hour weigh-in. Some of those guys that are maybe cutting a little bit more weight or maybe not cutting a little bit more weight, you know, sometimes that time can favor them a little bit. But when it really comes down to it, I think the top guys perform when they need to.
I also got to feel like maybe these two are two of those guys that kind of get to pick their weight first. So they're probably comfortable with the weight they're at.
Most likely.
Still takes a lot of discipline not to make a poor choice after weigh-in. It takes a lot of – tried a little roll there. That was so far we've seen a pretty impressive performance here. There's 40 seconds left, and with an elite wrestler, no lead is safe. So I wouldn't be surprised if he cuts him here.
I kind of thought about that earlier. You know, you've got more takedowns than him. It's really a risk reward because if you let him go, you obviously don't have the 8-point lead, but you got a chance to get the takedown.
Well, here's the veteran move that took place on the edge. 9 out of 10 wrestlers would have given up on the edge there. He creates a mat return, keeps him in bounds, burns 20 seconds off the clock. Now he is kind of locked into that major decision ride.
Serrano, a smart wrestler, knows that he's looking for a team point issue here as well, so he's going to do everything he can to get out.
Yes.
And Connor's going to try and crab ride this up a little bit, and Connor's going to come away with a 9-1 victory in a really, really exciting second match of the duel here.
I think the thing I want to point out is I'm superstitious, so I wasn't going to say anything during the match, especially the last 30 seconds. A 9-1 score for a 3 versus 4 is a statement. That's good. Seeing him again Saturday, looks like he still has something left, and the only point he scored was a penalty point, which is also impressive, to not give up and escape.
Yeah, definitely a good showing by Connor. But the Carlisle team, they're well coached, and a lot of times those matches will actually often end up being closer. When you wrestle a guy that many times in a year, guys start to figure each other out. Not all the same tricks and gimmicks seem to work.
Right.
And so it'll kind of be a good test to both wrestlers. It's whether can you expand a lead or can you close the gap.
As we move to 120 pounds, Matthew McRae with a quick takedown. McRae coming in ranked number 6. For the Wildcats, Ryan Ryder coming in number 8. Ryder 20-1 on the season. McRae 22-5.
Boy,
McRae gets the second takedown, 25 seconds in, 4-1 now.
he is not slow. His
motor rivals that of Connors.
Yeah, and his athleticism is a lot to deal with for anyone. But what a great, what we're seeing here is 2 ranked wrestlers back to back from both teams. Great workout partners. Iron sharpens iron. That's what builds champions.
I think it is important to note that I see Ryan Ryder warming up on the side. It appears that he might be bumping up to 26.
Oh, this is
I didn't realize it quite then, but this doesn't look like him out on the mat. I do see him now warming up on the side. Looks like they might be.
That's right. This is Truman Van Osbury.
Yes, I think they're.
Okay.
I think Carlisle, the Wildcats, might be looking for an opportunity to score some bonus points here. Maybe trade a match.
Well,
instead of risking losing point, Ryder is a guy in their lineup who usually is getting wins for them, scoring some team points.
And to be fair, not to have to wrestle a guy too many times in a short period of time. They've got some firepower up top where they can afford to take these risks.
Yes.
And if this one doesn't pay off, you're down a point or two. McRae here with what appears to be a fall. Again, the official kind of in a tough spot to see it.
And he's going to award the pin from the side that he probably couldn't see the pin on, but 1:55. So McRae gets a pin over Truman Van Osbury.
Yeah, and for Blue Jay fans at home, there's 14 bouts. This is in Bondurant's strength. The strategy for Bondurant is to get as many bonus points as possible. This is so
126 pounds for the Blue Jays is going to be Jerron Gilgie, and for the Wildcats, this is then going to be Ryan Ryder bumping up from 120. So you can imagine the Blue Jay wrestler has a weight advantage, but the Wildcat wrestler has a varsity match experience advantage for sure.
And frankly, wrestling's a little bit about experience, right? That was a bicep throw. He is not above the elbow. The headlock is not locked above the elbow. Correct? He can't.
That's not two.
That's not two. Let's wipe that off. That's
the Blue Jay coach Wanderlin over there to talk with the official because
we've got 3 experts up here that are never wrong, so we've got that going for us. But we also have the power of replay,
right?
And you could argue the initial headlock might have justified a 2-point takedown. He did take the wrestler to his back. He froze him there for a second or two. But the series on the edge of the mat, I don't know.
So if that was so I disagree with that entire piece that happened at the edge of the mat. Like I hear what you're saying earlier on, maybe, but you didn't award it there, and then you awarded it at the edge of the mat when there wasn't a takedown.
Yes.
And then the Blue Jay wrestler stood up, and you actually let them stand all the way up and separate before you decided they were out of bounds, which if you would have blown the whistle right away when they were out of bounds, I'd have said, no escape, but you didn't.
And to be fair, in most big meets, most big matches, you've got 2 officials.
Sure.
It's more likely to make that call. He's in a tough spot here. Boy, is he flexible. The other thing is the Carlisle wrestler is going for big moves, which is his job in this situation. He's supposed to go after a fall. Niall Davis is showing a lot of heart.
This isn't Niall. This is Gilgie, Jerron. Yep, I thought Niall was the one we were seeing here today, but
okay. Well,
they catch us off guard a little bit.
Yeah,
they don't have to approve the lineup with us or lineup changes, unfortunately. So,
well, Jerron is very flexible for that matter, and a freshman,
and he's now in a position to score himself right here.
Yeah, I don't know that Carlisle anticipated this being a 2-1 first period score.
No, it's been a hard-fought period for sure.
Now, I'm not sure Ryder is a full-sized 120 either. I think he's probably closer to a 113, but so is Serrano, and I don't think either one's a 106.
Yep. And I think that was kind of the story last year. I think it was kind of Serrano being maybe, not thinking he was quite big enough to be 13. And I know Serrano was making a decent cut to 106, and that left Ryder, who walked around at more than about 113 wrestling. Wildcats wanting a few back swipes there.
Hand control is huge here. If he can grab a hand, he can really limit his power here.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's a little tip action. Pretty impressive.
Well, it was a nice kneecap by Ryder.
Yeah.
Gilgie in a tough spot, fighting hard.
A lot of time on the clock in the period.
He needs to try to scoot himself out of bounds, really, because that's...
Well, he's showing no signs of giving up, though, that's for sure.
And that's going to be a fall at 3 minutes on the clock for Ryan Ryder at 126 pounds. So with the team score at 16-6 advantage, Blue Jays will go on to 132 pounds. Senior 9th ranked Dalton Ryle coming in at 19-5 versus Mason Lucas of the Wildcats at 26-3.
32 pounds from Carlisle, Mason Lucas.
Lucas with a real solid record, has to be sitting just outside the ranked realm on that.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Rankings are what they are. It's just somebody's opinion until you wrestle the matches, but
exactly.
Two very good physical specimens here. These both have seen the weight room for sure.
Yeah, not undersized 132s here is Ryle trying to pull him back in.
There.
What's a flea? What's avoiding a takedown? I'll let Mr. Pfizer comment on that.
Obviously depends on the official. Most of the time when there's still wrestling action, you're not going to see a fleeing call. It's certainly called less in a high school sanctioned match than it would be in maybe a college match or a freestyle match.
A blatant turn away and flee.
And the same little elbow pass there from Ryle.
Yeah.
Got to the leg in the middle of the mat and was able to score.
Yeah.
So Ryle takes a 2-0 lead here in the first. Got to try and bring him down here and there.
Oh, nice lift.
Good mat return.
Nice lift. I got 2 swipes. I got 3 swipes. Sorry.
I think he's got 2.
I think it may have been a new count.
I think he's holding a 2 count. Yep. So 2-point near fall.
Still very important points at this point in the match.
Yeah, this is where we need to turn my mic off. I get a little too fan.
I don't know if you know this. This is Blue Jay Digital. This isn't ESPN. You can be a fan. It's fine.
I get a little excited. Big fan of our kids. We got a lot of kids that are working really hard. Dalton's a guy that has put a lot of work in. He also was a heck of a guard in basketball. Little known fact, but has become quite a competitor. Obviously one of the best in the state, and
he's a kid who he definitely part of getting into wrestling was that middle school season where he did the split season.
Yeah,
and he went through middle school season and just decided he wasn't done with it, and then went to AAU districts, and I think he finished one spot shy of advancing that to state that first year, and I think he was just hooked.
Well, and I think we can talk more about that in a second, but I will say a big thing he did was an early turn and a ride out at the end of the period, not allowing any points to be scored going into the second period with a clean 4-0 start. Really is a big advantage.
Oh, nice switch there from Lucas. Got wrist control and just powered through it. Now we see Lucas on the top position for the first time.
He's riding very parallel. This is one of my pet peeves.
I was just going to comment on the same thing. And it's a tough ride, but most of the time when you're not working off the hips after a while, a ref is going to hit the top man for stalling.
You need to have he's a legger.
And while riding parallel, he's still showing enough offense where he's not going to get called right now.
Now where he's at, it's much tougher to get called for stalling. But here's where you got to be careful, and you got to move forward. Dalton's
keep sliding down, trying to get under the leg.
He's making just enough progress towards that leg. That
Ryle looking like he's in pretty decent position.
Yeah, I would
pull him back on.
Pull him back on. There's a loss of control. He's got to pull him back on. He's done a lot of work here. He's got yes. Nice. Yes. I'll
we'll take the escape.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't potentially dangerous
that
on
knee
his
looked
knee.
a little awkward. Yeah.
That call wouldn't have surprised me, right? I'm happy we didn't get, or happy nobody's hurt.
Right.
But
so 5-2 advantage Ryle right now. 25 seconds remaining in the second.
So Chase, what's your call in the third period? You're going to tell Dalton to go where? If it finishes here. He's going to turn.
I don't know exactly what.
I
think it depends on a lot what happens in this sequence here.
Yeah. I think he's going to turn the corner for 2 here.
Lucas still staying. As long as he stays down on the ankle, it's going to be tough to get that leg back.
3 points. Yeah. So going again, we're 5-2. We know he's got some danger on top. Do you take neutral and give that point away, or do you go down?
I think if you're thinking about a major, then you go down because it saves you a takedown. But at the same time, it depends on how quickly you think you can get away.
So that's interesting because I thought Wonderland just told him neutral, and Ryle made the decision over the top. And I'd rather go down, Coach.
You know, with the senior, we got a caution red. We'll take that. With the senior, you're going to give him a little more leeway.
Certainly.
Now, if we're at the qualifier or at state, I think I need to listen to Coach. But here, you know, he may see this wrestler again Saturday. So, hey, let him test it out. He may, he may be a kid who takes top if he has to. So,
and that's big, an athlete being able to trust a coach, and also a coach being able to trust an athlete to make that decision for themselves as well.
And this is another one of those matches that, as I look through what the district lineup is, this very well could be your district final.
Well, so far the big difference in this match was obviously a little elbow pass, and then I don't know how you make that call, but I'll not be critical of the official.
There's some good action by Lucas.
Under a minute now left in the third.
Behind.
Dalton with a little
arm drag attempt.
Yeah, a little arm drag.
See, Dalton has that left elbow, or his right elbow. Dalton's left hand locks that up.
We're going to see that soon.
Stalemate. I think the best defense is a great shot here. Go up 8-2.
Yes.
Answer the question. Too much drama if you wait around too much. But again, they're going to see each other a little bit.
Yes. And also what that does is wrestling on the edge, keep shooting, especially now that Ryle has a stall warning. He's likely not going to get called unless he's egregiously running away.
Yeah. But again, this is being smart here. He's not. He has no responsibility to get off the mat. He's going to hang out. We saw Connor do that a little bit to say, hey, I've earned this right. I'm gonna make him make the move on the edge.
So we're at 10 seconds left. Ryle has a 6-2 lead.
You know, the two things I'll say about this match and going back to the Pfizer match is simply a turn made a huge difference, both mentally and on the scoreboard. A turn is a message.
Yes. And, you could say even if you take away that turn, Ryle still wins the match, but being down 4-0 in the first period definitely changes how you wrestle a match, how you come back from that. It affects, what you do when you get your choice, and it's just mindset in general.
So after that 19-6, we're moving to 138 pounds for the Wildcats. Devontae Link coming in at 8-13. And for your Blue Jays, number 4, 138-pound Nolan Fellers coming in at 24-1. Fellers just a freshman. We talked about earlier, really hot start to the season once he came back from injury, and just an exciting wrestler to watch.
And a pretty talented football player. And a heck of a nice kid. That's a trifecta, Patrick.
Heard maybe he's a baseball player too. I don't know if he's going out or not. But
well, you only need 3 for a trifecta. So he's got citizenship, he's got wrestling, he's got football. That fills the
trifecta.
Card. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is Montrell Jameson is the Carlisle wrestler.
Okay.
So Montrell Jameson is a freshman. So I don't know exactly what that changes. I guess that was an or the way they had it in the lineup. As Fellers makes the
that is not potentially dangerous.
I'm not sure what that call was.
I want to throw my pen from the that is not potentially dangerous.
It appears that he's trying to call an illegal move as well, or instead?
Well, it does look a little like a full Nelson when you get both hands above his head. We're going to see it on the replay. We have the luxury in our booth.
What I saw was
underhook around the back.
A body lock.
So he awarded the point.
I'm a little unsure on that call.
What's fortunate, I'll have to do some research. What's fortunate is there's no injury and no danger of a default.
Yes.
So right now it's 2-2, and
2 feet in,
2-point takedown on the side, 4-2.
As a collegian now, the high school rules have to frustrate you on the edge.
Oh, sometimes yes and no. I think we saw in the Pfizer Serrano match that first little flurry where Serrano only had 1 foot in on the edge.
Yeah.
And I think that's what upset
the Carlisle
coaches.
Right. Was
when Connor got his, they maybe looked like they were the same distance in and out of bounds. Feller's working for a fall here.
That's at this point I would make the call. He's going to tighten it up a little.
Still has 20 seconds.
Decent amount of time.
Possible double grapevine.
And that's going to be a fall. Minute 48 for Nolan Fellers.
Another great matchup here tonight at 145.
So for the Blue Jays, ranked number 11, sophomore Jordan Ryle coming in at 20-5. And for the Wildcats, freshman number 5, Jackson Miller, 26-2 on the season.
And these two will see a little bit of each other in the coming weeks.
Say initially, I get the feeling Miller might have
touch.
Wait, what?
Once the hand touched of Ryle.
I didn't see the hand touch the first time.
I hope that's a takedown.
You call that a miracle position? I don't think that's the correct call the official made. No question.
By the rules, it's certainly the correct call that the official made. If you want to talk about the writing of the rule in general, that's definitely a debatable topic.
I think it's a dumb rule. I'm going on record. I'm registered as a. I just don't think it establishes control. Now, if you take somebody to the back with that, then I think you award the 2 and the backs. But that's not dominating a person to the level of a takedown.
It's a creative little foot sweep attempt by Miller there. Now he's working with the bar on top.
Just really smooth transition wrestling there from Miller.
Yep. Comes down to awareness, wrestling intelligence, and that's something very impressive to see out of a young guy.
Yeah. And you know, Ryle's an outstanding wrestler in his own right. So
Yes.
Impressive.
Yeah, this is a match that's certainly important for the duel, but it's important for both guys moving forward as well. You either kind of, you know, if you're Miller, you establish, you know, kind of who the better guy is in your mind, or if you're Ryle, you pull an upset and put yourself in a great position going into the postseason.
These two do have one other ranked wrestler in their bracket at districts.
Is it 1 or 2?
Wes Anderson is the other ranked wrestler.
I believe. I think the Pello wrestler was in the rankings.
He was in the rankings, but he also moved down to 138.
I see.
Peyton Ritzert's down at 138.
Yes. Yep.
So right now there's only 3 ranked wrestlers in this weight class.
So going back to the change that the state made this year, the reason I'm in favor of it is I can think about a couple, even when we were in 2A, you were a freshman, you were a sophomore. There was a lot of years where a highly ranked wrestler was left at home.
I feel like Lozano had multiple brackets there where he had 2 ranked wrestlers or 3 ranked wrestlers in his.
Lozano.
I remember X-Dam having some particularly tough districts. Aiden Reeves is one that comes to mind for that.
You know, with Centerville there, they had some Grinnell there with some ranked guys. I'd rather see the best 8 guys on the podium, or as close to the best 8 guys as possible. Now, you certainly can get 4 ranked guys in a qualifier, but
it's less likely to have 4 than it is to have 3 when you still have 8 districts.
And I do think you've seen years of evidence where why not? And I think it also increases fan interest and participation with a little larger bracket.
Yes, and I know there were some concerns over you know, what it means anymore to be a state qualifier. People making arguments that it's not as hard to qualify for the tournament, and that's true. But I think you're right, and I think we've seen enough of an argument for why we need to have 3 qualifiers. And my argument for that too is how is adding an extra 8 guys to the bracket going to make it worse?
And in addition. The other thing we've talked about is how long has Iowa had 2 qualifiers per weight? How many years would you guess?
Long time.
Yeah. So what has happened in wrestling in the last 20 years? The level and depth has increased dramatically.
Yes.
And as a college football fan, I want more than 4 teams in that playoff too. Like, give me some more teams. Let's have some fun. And a
spladle attempt by Miller, late in the period. Ryle still sitting up in position.
Yes.
You need to hook the leg for a reversal with short time left.
He's got it.
2.
He's got it.
And that's big.
So at the end of the second,
not only do you put yourself with a little bit more of a buffer for that major, but Ryle, depending on where he goes, puts himself in position to win the match.
The question the Carlisle coach is rightly asking is, hey, he was in danger. I don't think he was in control. Well, and the reversal was starting.
I think he was sitting high enough up on his back, where the shoulders weren't.
And you also saw Ryle was tilted towards Miller's legs, which is why he was able to create that reversal.
Yes,
I think that's a miscall a lot, where they give back points and the shoulders are well off the mat, right?
Yes.
Not an easy call, certainly a contested call. We've got the luxury of video review up in our booth.
and only a few people actually hearing the calls we're making.
That's
instead
right.
of a whole crowd of people telling us we're wrong.
Again, nice shot.
Just nice shot by
nice
Ryle.
Shot.
Ryle chose neutral position.
Yep. He's gonna try to split those legs.
Yes. Miller, good hips, good defense.
And then good power in.
And no call yet. There's 2.
So that's a 9-3 advantage with a minute left.
And you would think, unless Miller's confident in his top game, that he would likely start cutting, trying to go for a major.
The dilemma being that you need to find a way to cut and take down twice in this period.
Yeah. Yes.
And I don't know if he's got enough time for that.
I'll tell you the other thing. The reason I'm not telling him to cut him is this is Jordan Ryle. He's a gamer. This is a kid that could flip you on your back in a heartbeat.
Yes. He's proven himself to be dangerous.
Yeah,
in some matches.
you need to respect that, and you
got Wildcat fans wanting stalling somehow, but there's really nothing to do.
That's not a turn, because the turn opposes the leg that he has in. That's why it's potentially dangerous, and it's a textbook call. The body can't turn that way. 18 seconds left. Let's see if Jordan gets an escape here.
Head up. Short time here.
Oh, no. 5 seconds on the clock.
And we're still only holding 2 back points.
I don't know how that's possible.
That's still going to be a major.
Yeah, I'm really not sure where the only 2 came from, but either way, it makes it an 11-3 major decision for Jackson Miller in a really exciting match for a 5 versus 11. And obviously, if you're Miller, you come away, excited about that. You beat another kid that you're going to see in districts. But for Ryle, you got to feel you take a little bit of positive away from that, and that you got to take down. You kept it close. And, obviously it turned out in a major at the end, but you were, within a position of being able to potentially one big move and making something happen.
Yeah, certainly put himself in position to win that match.
The Wildcat fans are getting a talking to.
Down the man, 152 pounds.
I think
I'm not quite sure what that was.
If Mr. Sweeney needs some backup, Chase, I'm sending you over there.
So now for the Blue Jays, junior, number 5, 152-pound Jack Lewis coming in at 31-4. And for the Wildcats, Zach Streeter coming in at 24-8.
Another great matchup, 2 super high-quality wrestlers. Jack Lewis is no joke, my friend. This guy
big upset this weekend over the number 2 ranked kid at his weight class from Ankeny.
A big upset on paper. No surprise to those watching Jack Lewis, right?
Yes.
The guy's got an engine. He's another guy that's got that has that pace that's just hard to deal with.
And sometimes a lot of people talk about pace. When I think of pace, I think of guys wrestling an incredibly fast style, guys like Connor, Pfizer, McRae. Sometimes with Lewis, it's more about the pressure of clearing a tie or snapping a tie off, and he's still right there in your face. It's not always fast, but it's slowly just chipping away, and you'll see him break a lot of guys at the end of matches by doing that.
We'll see what kind of mat return Jack prefers
Quick go
to
behind
use here.
to get him down.
Very good mat return.
And that gets him a takedown, so it's 4-1.
Elevating and turning the opponent's hips. Man, is he slick with that.
Second guy always gets caught on that.
I'm okay with that. Wrestling is a sport where you got to be a little chippy. It's okay. It's okay to. I don't know why their coach is asking for a stalling call. would certainly hit Carlisle for stalling.
Lewis has done a good job of controlling center the entire time.
Moving forward.
That was a heck of an underhook there that he prevented that drag by going.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's both athletes. Certainly Zach's very legit too. He's game. Another mat return here.
Opportunity to score at the end of the period.
6 seconds left, keeping them down. That's big.
That's huge. Those points at the end of the period.
You know what? He's got a nasty arm bar that if he had 30 seconds with, I would have liked to have seen what would have happened there.
Yes.
But I like the fact that even with 5 seconds, he wants to let you know this is here.
Well, and that goes back to the pressure thing. You can fend off one attack. You can fend off 2 attacks. It's hard to fend off 3, 4, and 5.
Going to start the second period with Lewis on top with a 6-2 advantage. Going to try and create some back points.
I'd like to see that arm bar come out again. He's got a little bit of a spiral.
Also,
a little bit
very
of a claw.
tough with that claw. But he's been wrestling well on his feet, and why not bring him back up? Some good action by Streeter on the edge of the mat.
Yeah, and a heads-up move by Jack, knowing where he's at.
The Wildcat coach calling for fleeing.
Sure.
Always calling for something.
You know what I like about him is he's a competitor and he's a good villain, and it makes these nights fun. I mean villain in a compliment, like, hey, this is what makes high school athletics. The environment you wrestled in last year in Carlisle was outstanding, right?
Yes.
That's what is fun for the kids. It's fun for the fans. It really is a neat atmosphere and something that you'll remember.
Nobody talks about going to a wrestling meet at Carver and sitting on their hands.
Yes.
Right? You get up, you yell. Well, so do the athletes, so do the coaches.
And Carlisle. Nobody goes to the barn in Carlisle thinking that that's going to be a walk in the park.
Lewis with another takedown now with an 8-3 lead, a minute into the second period.
No, historically we always we're getting wins over Carlisle, at least in recent history. But it was never a duel that we looked forward to or were thinking
overlooked. You never overlooked.
No. Yes.
No. They know how to compete. They are tough. The other thing I'll say is I heard this will really irritate the purists, but I had a parent advocate for 4 divisions in wrestling like basketball.
Which I kind of would like to see just because it would put more guys at state again. But
well, and I think sometimes the grumpy old men, takes away from the glory of being a qualifier or on the podium. That's not what it's about. Good sprawl.
8-4 at the end of 2.
Coming back to again what we were talking about, the fight of Carlisle. I mean, Streeter's put himself in this match the entire time, and although Lewis has controlled most of the scoring, it's not a one-sided match.
You know what? What I've noticed is they've got kids that are strong. There's no question. They've got athletes, but they've got technicians. They've got some kids that have some slick stuff, and this is a good example here with Streeter. Like he's got some slick little slide bys.
Yes, and nothing's been able to quite break through the defense of Lewis, but he certainly came close a few times on the edge.
Yeah, he's not showing a sign of giving up. That's for sure.
For sure.
And it's a 4-point match. That's still a danger zone.
It's still a close match.
You want to open things up, and a good mat return by him. He is covering the hips and not doing much. I don't. We're not in danger of a turn, but it makes it very difficult to get out. Jack's just got to grab a hand, and well, that's.
And there was some decent mat awareness there by Streeter trying to pull him out of bounds.
Yep.
But in doing so, kind of put himself in bad position.
So 9-4 lead with a minute remaining.
And this is where I look for the motor of Lewis to kind of wear him down.
I'm getting tired.
And hopefully get some bonus points here.
I'm getting tired just watching. This is, feet to back is where where you seem to see the bonus points come, right?
And we're seeing one more for a major, but put that action on the edge too.
I'm looking for a stalling call at this point. He's forcing the action nonstop.
That many shots to a lot to a little.
Again, I'm going to admit I'm a homer. You know what? He's going to cut him and get one more. Well,
coach says keep him down.
Coach says no.
Right now he's right at the major.
Yeah, that
so
30
as long as he
seconds. If you're not a hammer rider, that 30 seconds is not a lot.
30 seconds could be a long ride.
Well, that's.
Now he's got him bellied out.
Yeah, that's huge.
It's good.
He's got a claw. You know, Jack is no dummy. He knows how. He dealt with a Granby. He dealt with a little switch over on his hips, and he's working for a turn.
And right there, real smart decision where he's like, I'm a little high.
Nothing. Nope.
No point.
They're so
good
far
no
off
call.
from that.
But he was looking for a turn, and he's like, I'm a little high.
Yeah.
I might be able to get it, but it's not going to change the match score, so I'm just going to get back behind.
Regardless, an impressive win by Lewis over a very, very good opponent. You don't major somebody who's 24-8 very often.
So now for the Blue Jays senior, Marcus Teed coming in at 17-14, and for the Wildcats, number 10, Hayden Lucas at 25-5. Lucas also a senior. On paper, at least, I would say you're looking at advantage Wildcats the rest of the way. Blue Jays with a 29-10 lead. Going to need to find a way to maybe make a couple upsets.
To say they have some hammers up top is selling them short a little bit. There's some impressive athletes there.
Lucas with a 2-0 lead right now.
The other thing I'll say is Carlisle's going to be they're going to be tough for a while. They've got some youth. We saw some great JV kids.
Yes. When you look through that list, you see a lot of young, talented guys.
Marcus trying to fight that. Ends up giving it away. No takedown yet as they're both in the neutral position.
Working the hands.
So you can't have a stall there because there's no takedown yet.
Correct. Still no points awarded. And some good defense by T.
That's frustrating for an athlete to have that effort and that technique. And
Marcus shoots for the double.
You know, he's got that nice length. I've seen him reel in some nice doubles from space, and that's.
Yes. Lucas not short for the weight either, though.
No.
Just a good job coming around there by Lucas late in the first. Going to take a 4-1 lead.
So we were commenting earlier about Carlisle's crowd being a little small, but they've made up for it in enthusiasm, I think.
I would say so. Always a rowdy crowd. I think when we were there last year, somebody yelled at me to go get a haircut, but it worked because I shaved it off. I did. It was too long.
We're struggling with the new look. It's new for us. We're not used to it. We're used to a constant flip. Marcus is a nice whizzer in. If he keeps his head up, he might be able to hip in a little more.
Lucas does a good job going down, collecting that leg.
There's a great roll through here.
Nice trip from Lucas.
That's a high level adjustment making it on that finish that not a lot of people can do. Go find that foot, bring it up, elevate it.
6-1 is the score right now. Cross-face attempt there from Lucas. Not a great angle to try to call the action since the ref is in our way. But
I know. It's,
I don't know if anybody wants to tell him, hey, can you move to the side? And now he went ahead and went to the other side. He knew he was a problem.
I was impressed with Mr. Sweeney's crowd control earlier. He
got it locked down.
He shared with our guests that there was a certain level of decorum to be expected.
Maybe trying to tilt here if he rolls through on that. 10 seconds remaining in the second, and there it is. And I don't think that's, I don't know. It's hard to say how much of him was in and out from over here, but I know if I was the Wildcat fan, I understand the displeasure.
As a Blue Jay fan, I think that was the right call.
As a honest individual, I understand their concern.
Yeah, yeah. I would have said there was 4 points in, right? I don't know if that's what you saw.
The bottom half of both wrestlers, yeah.
Literally the bottom half of both.
So 8-1 is the score going into the third. Lucas on bottom. Teed maybe a little high there. Good return.
Good return by Teed.
He's got an ankle.
Yeah.
A little crossface.
Lucas just trying to muscle him around with that.
Marcus could lock a cradle. His arms are long. If he
may have it locked up right now.
I think he's trying to kick over. I think he might have it.
If he tucks and rolls, we got Houston. There's a problem.
He not quite in the best position to work for the fall.
Oh, that's unfortunate. What a nice position he was in.
Unfortunate, but understandable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That was not a lot of activity. You're going to see a stalemate. What's a little quiz time? What is the Loris's mascot?
Well, you're asking him. He should know that answer. Are you asking me?
It's the Dewhawk.
Okay, and is that a native species of
Dubuque?
From Dubuque.
Okay.
Correct.
A Dewhawk, I understand. A Gohawk, I'm still trying to figure out.
So, what I heard about the Gohawk is that it was halfway in between Minnesota or Minneapolis and Iowa City.
So it's a gopher
hawk. I'm not sure the truth on that.
I don't like a gopher hawk being in Iowa.
I just struggle with is that one of those mythical animals where is the as far as bad mascots, that's not the worst I've heard. What's the worst mascot you've heard, Patrick?
I mean, I do think the ORAB has to be up there, the Sheldon Orange and Blacks.
That's not good.
Rockford East is an E-Rab, East Red and Black. The worst, I think, there's two. Oh, boy. We're looking at near fall here, Marcus.
We're out of time, but Marcus kept that to a regular decision with the 1-8 decision for Hayden Lucas. And, the farther that match went into the period, the better chance it looked like Marcus had, and I think that's something for him to look forward to.
Build on. Build on.
He wants to push that match into the third with as much energy as possible.
No, there's certainly some good takeaways going into the following weekends.
This is a young Asa Hempstead. We're very familiar with the Hempstead family. Very
comes in at 25-4, and he's going to be facing Caleb Kramer, who's coming in at 11-4, getting a varsity match on senior night. Hempstead, a wrestler who's not ranked, and again has to be just hanging out outside the rankings as that 25-4 record would speak to. And not that your name matters, but based off the two older brothers, you kind of see his name there and you expect a high level of wrestling.
That's got to be a tough household to grow up in.
Maybe that's why they don't stay small.
Basement battles have to be epic. A lot of broken furniture, I would guess.
Well, I feel like
lot of
Asa
holes
was
in the
like a
walls.
138 last year.
Yeah.
And so all the way up to 170 is a pretty good freshman to sophomore jump.
Boy, what did Josh jump from? Was he a 60 or 70 pounder up to 95? He might have had a bigger trend. His brother was big longer, right? I mean, his older brother was
Well, his older brother, I think, was 195 as a freshman, it seems like. Maybe he was only 170 as a freshman.
And he was probably 6'4". He was a tall person.
I mean, I haven't seen him recently, but I'm sure he didn't shrink.
Asa's he's got a deep half.
Deep half. 25 still on the clock.
Kramer trying to fight. He's in a tough
that's
spot.
A half is very.
And that's a really, really deep.
Half and a wrist.
Those are some
I
big
think the
points.
Carlisle
for
bench
just
called
pointing
that
the duel.
for him, but
Yeah, little assistance, but that's a tough task to come in and wrestle him. And this match I kind of circled because
because it's really important for one. I mean,
well, there's that. The other thing I would say is Paxton is unorthodox and dangerous.
yeah.
From Carlisle, Jack Laughlin. And from Monterey Broad, Trent Paxton.
Paxton coming in at 21-10. Jack Laughlin, ranked number 9, coming in at 26-5. Laughlin was a key part to the running backfield for the Wildcat football team. Trying to run that bar and collected the far wrist, and luckily going to end up out of bounds.
Again, Paxton's a guy who can be down by 8 and pin somebody, so I will.
Certainly not a guy you're going to be rolling around
No,
with.
no. A smart guy would say, let's go on our feet. Let's not. I'm not taking down. So to do that, he's going to have to take some chances, and here's a chance we see right here. He kind of tucked into a roll.
He does like those rolls.
Paxton certainly having some good movement on the bottom here, but it's just a matter of maybe stringing some of those moves together.
Yeah,
Chain wrestling.
yeah, and usually to roll, you have to have your head down a little bit. Bad things can happen when your head's down, so
Yes.
it's a risk.
So far, Paxton doing a good job keeping his head off the mat to prevent any type of negativity that way. Laughlin trying to drive across that, but he's got the near ankle. And Pax, there's your side roll tucking.
Yeah. Now the only negative to that right on the edge is a little bit of advertisement that you're kind of saying, hey, you might want to.
Some kids are always susceptible to the side roll. I don't think that's probably going to be the case with Laughlin, but as you saw him collect an ankle there that time to help prevent him from going.
Just as you say that, he was pretty far on his hip.
You know, some of us learn slower than others too.
Very, very slow learner. I've been accused of being.
Paxton's going to choose top.
I think that's a reasonable call.
I think so too.
So Paxton's a bit of a legger, so we'll see what comes out of this.
And Jack's long-legged. You know, he's not compact, so he's gonna. Well, he did a great job of
getting to his feet right away.
Yeah, protecting.
Control.
You know, protecting his legs. It's 3-0 with about a minute 45 left.
Good defense there from Paxton, but
boy, he's up.
Laughlin gets the take.
Yep.
No takedown yet.
Still
He
no
waved
points
it off.
as of now. He hasn't quite came around the back, controlling the hips
Now,
yet.
Yeah.
That seems like the odd point.
The only
to
thing that
award
puzzles
it, but
me about that is that there's really no change
Right.
in that 15-second span.
Yeah.
if he would have called it right away, I would have had no qualm about it. It just seemed weird when he did call it.
Yeah, you know, I have been accused of not being a perfect official myself, so we're going to give him a little grace.
If you were perfect at it, you'd probably do it where you got paid more.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, I don't know what you get paid to go
When you're
officiate D1, but I'm guessing it's more than officiating a high school duel.
Youth, my level is probably youth right now as a volunteer.
A little dangerous spot there for Paxton. Got out of it. Was really trying to commit to that switch. And
Oh boy!
And
there it is.
And there is a roll by Paxton.
I'm kind of impressed that Laughlin didn't give up back points because he was there for a half second. Trent had both arms. You know, is Jack going to take down in the third? Are you taking down if it ends?
I think if I'm Jack, I'm looking neutral.
You do have to look at restarts as well, though. Off the first restart in the second period.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Is he tired? You know, that's the question.
But that 15 seconds at the end of the period where with not much of an attempt to come up off the bottom certainly makes you think before going down.
He's going to go neutral.
And he is.
That's probably that's probably a good call.
So 5-2 as we head into the third.
And you know what? Trent is frustrating for guys to wrestle because he just kind of he's gonna get a takedown here. Oh shoot! Ooh. I thought he had it.
I thought he was rolling through with it.
Yeah,
nothing yet.
Still no points quite yet.
Yeah.
And even with the cradle locked up, if he's still squared,
face him, Trent. I think.
There's
2 point
down, which is fair.
7-2.
But as I said before, he's a 5-point move guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, if Trent goes into sudden death, I'm picking Trent.
Coach Wonderland has a.
He's indicating that he's staying fairly behind up. Yes,
there's
that's
another
a
roll
foul.
by Paxton. He's on his back.
Count it. Come on,
Should
Trent.
be a full 5
Come
count.
on,
He's
Trent.
pinned. He's pinned. He's almost pinned.
I don't know that he's pinned, but that's
And
a
now
3-point
Trent
near
working
fall,
with the
2-point
bar.
reversal, 7-7. And new move if he can find some back points here.
He needs to be careful. I'm going to put the boots in and I'm going to. Oh, he's a little high.
And McLaughlin has that ankle.
Just some good awareness in that scramble position, keeping the Turk.
Well,
working for the back points there.
So now it's 12-7.
Yeah, you know.
Hey, it was exciting.
And that's what we wanted to see.
And
he's got it. He's got it. He's got it.
He turned him with
tied.
3.
No, that was.
He turned him with 3. He only counted a 2 count, so he's going to lose 11-12. Yep. I do think that was probably the right number of back points.
Yes.
Because I looked up at the clock when he turned, and it was a 3-second on the clock. But
certainly Fighting till the end, making it an interesting match.
But what I'll say is that's exactly the kind of match that he needed to wrestle.
Yep.
Keep it close, get them tired, roll around with them. Good job by Paxton.
For sure.
Now we're going to have 195. Brayton Gipple coming in at 17-7. And for the Wildcats, number 9, Jess Kirchel, 25-4. The other part of the running back tandem for the Wildcats.
Now, I think Laughlin is he going to Iowa or Iowa State, if I'm not mistaken?
I think he's preferred walk-on maybe for football for Iowa.
Yeah.
As linebacker, I think, is what they're looking at there. So right now, Blue Jays have a 7-point lead, 3 matches to go.
It's a tall task.
So it might come down to the heavyweight match that, Quentin Fulton is, he's always a mystery.
He's
a lot like Paxton, where he might come out and pin some kid.
You know what? That's what I like about Q is he's never out of it. He's dangerous, and he's a gamer, right? He's a senior. He's a gamer.
And we've seen some crazy things in this gym in Raccoon River Conference. I remember Doty a couple years ago bumping up, 3 weight classes.
Yes.
Maybe it was only 2 weight classes, but he bumped up quite a bit to wrestle a kid that was like double his size.
Was that
winter
set?
Yeah.
Yeah. And no, that was they had a lot of state-ranked kids that year.
Yep. 25 seconds on the clock. Gipple trying to fight this turn. Kirchel working hard trying to get it. No back points yet. Good fight from Gipple. There's some back points now, and that's going to be a fall.
There's going to be a fall.
That was a good long fight from Gipple. Just a little too much there from Kirchel. And that makes it 29-28 with 2 matches to go.
What we do know is Carlisle has a weight room.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Kirchel was a 120 as a freshman.
So this is not who I thought
This is Colin Thomas for the Blue Jays and Joshua Hempstead for the Wildcats.
This is not Josh Hempstead.
That's not Josh Hempstead.
No.
Who is that? Oh, this is Pagel. This is who I thought we'd see at heavyweight.
So they flipped him.
Pagel
clearly is not a heavyweight. They flipped him, and
I think maybe they saw the same thing that Pagel and Fulton is a match that you could see go either way.
A flip.
And Hempstead, a much more seasoned wrestler, 28-1, and as Pagel's going to get the fall against Hempstead. Or against Colin Thomas, my bad. And that's going to give the Wildcats a 5-point lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I was expecting somebody else at 220 for us, but I don't actually see him over there, so he might have been sick today. No idea. But we're going to move into heavyweight, final match of the night. 5-point difference right now. Quentin Fulton for the Blue Jays, senior, 23-14, and Josh Hempstead, 28-1 for the Wildcats. Hempstead, a big, tall, lanky guy. Quentin, not quite as tall. Hempstead gets the 2-point takedown.
Q looking for a roll.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, Josh Hempstead's wrestling in the last 2 years has just elevated dramatically from his sophomore year to last year to this summer. He still wrestled 195 midsummer.
Okay.
There was a 5-pound allowance.
And yeah, he may be 220 or number 4 at 220, but 220 is a weird weight class in 3A Iowa. As the number 1 is world champion Ben Keeter. So, you can kind of mark number 1 off
Right.
your list as
Right.
not being attainable
Right.
at that point, and you're hoping to get to second. Not that it's physically not attainable, but if you've seen Ben Keeter, you understand why I'm saying it might not be attainable.
You know, what I really was looking forward to was him wrestling heavyweight, because I do think there's some really there's some athletes at heavyweight this year too. Not suggesting that
he wouldn't handle it, but that there might be some better challenges.
Right. Because athletically and physically at 220.
Heard a lot of no's from the Carlisle bench on that roll through. This is looking awfully tight from Hempstead.
Yeah, that's
Q was trying to tap out on that. I don't think he really felt like he could breathe. And that's going to bring us to the end of the duel. 40-29 was the final victory for the Wildcats. Congrats to the Wildcats on winning the Raccoon River Conference dual title. In wrestling, there's dual titles and there's individual tournament titles, so that'll be a separate one on Saturday. But it was in a close duel all the way to the end, and kind of what we expected could be the concern. Personally, I'm going to blame Clint Jones.
Yeah,
because he's standing in front of us.
Well, let's talk about what went well. First of all, Foster, Pfizer, McRae, Ryle, Fellers, Lewis, all looked very good, and that's a bright spot to build on. Frankly, we had some other guys who are still in it, certainly capable of turning some of those matches around this weekend, and so that'll be something to circle on their calendar and look forward to.
Yep, and good coaching decisions ended up in the end by the Wildcats to move a couple kids around. Probably got them a few extra points and definitely helped secure a victory for them. We do have one other key piece that we have to do, and that's a Vision Bank player of the meet. There's a lot of ways you could go with this. I think one really stands out. When you're talking 3 versus 4 and you finish up with a major decision, I mean, that's kind of a statement victory at that point. Jack did a really good job at 152. Fellers pinning his kid. I mean, anytime you come away with a pin, it's big. But to me, Connor Pfizer's your Vision Bank wrestler of the duel with a major decision over the number 4 ranked kid.
Apparently, we're not going to debate it. So Patrick's decided, and we're moving on. No, all kidding aside. And the one point that was given up was a penalty point for a full Nelson, and so really a dominating performance. The key is continuing to keep that gap or widening that gap because they're going to see each other quite a few more times. So both really good wrestlers, so it'll be fun to watch.
I mean, you could throw out another name. There's nothing that stops us from doing more than one. There's no prize money that goes with it.
No, I was just giving you a hard time.
Connor, do you want to give one to somebody besides your brother, just to call out as your big wrestler of the match then?
I think it's hard to argue against, majoring another top 5 guy. Definitely a good showing.
Ryle had a nice performance.
Ryle certainly did.
Facing an unranked wrestler, but 26-3, pretty impressive. But yeah, Connor certainly deserves that honor. And again, it'll be fun to watch as we go forward. We're watching now live Coach Wonderland demonstrating for the official how he believes he was incorrect.
So before we get ourselves in too much trouble, Vision Bank wrestler of the duel, Connor Pfizer. Vision Bank, great sponsor this year. Vision Bank, see what we can do for you. For tonight, although the Bluejays came out on the wrong end of the duel, a lot of exciting matches and really just a great night of wrestling. Thank you, Chase Pfizer, for jumping in and being our guest third wheel.
Special
guest. Thank you guys for having me.
From the Dewhawks.
From the Dewhawks. Yeah, my brother's mad because I haven't brought up his old buddy's son, Kincaid, but we're getting cut off here. So I'm seeing this like, yeah, I got the mic, whatever. But for tonight, go Blue Jays and good night.